So can we assume from what you're saying that you all approve of that violent behaviour and support that and are promising more of this on Monday? Can we get that absolutely right?
Can I just be absolutely clear, okay? What we see from the protesters is not violence. It is resistance from people who feel alienated.
With missiles. That was violence in anybody's eyes.
Sorry, like the protesters turned up. It was a good-natured, radical but good-natured demonstration in Parliament Square until the police started to kettle it. Okay,
so they just
then
found
frustration.
those missiles, did they? The
frustration boils over with the police. But like I think we have to be absolutely clear. Yeah, I mean people are bringing flares on demonstrations. People are bringing flares on demonstrations. What we have to see is in context that the police have attacked us on previous demonstrations. People are terrified of kettling. They're terrified of the actions of the police, with violent actions from the police, which is absolutely outrageous. Okay, and people want to be able to defend themselves. As far as I'm concerned, self-defence is no offence. If the police don't want repeated scenes, as we saw in London yesterday, they should reconsider their tactics. They should stop kettling people. They should put the horses back in the stables. They shouldn't bring out dogs, and they shouldn't have such a heavy-handed policing approach.
So are you all encouraging these people to come armed with these missiles next time? Can we get that right?
No, we're not encouraging people to come armed with missiles, but I think that if students want to come, like wearing hard hats, for instance, I think that would be totally understandable, because students are being attacked by police for exercising their democratic right to protest. That is what is going on in this country. It is an attack on the democratic right to protest.
Is it self-defence to throw a lump of concrete at head height through a crowd?
I think we need to get onto the issue. The issue is we had on this street here yesterday thousands of people. We had 30,000 or more people on a march against the government. The issues have been smokescreen by the media on actions of a few people, and many of those actions were in relation to the violence committed towards them.
Those actions, surely. How much public support do you think you lost yesterday?
Let's have Mark now on this issue. Sorry, can you let Mark speak?
It is not the protesters who have created these conditions that we have seen. They have not created the pictures that we have seen on the media. It is the Tory and the Liberal Democrats who have created the conditions of this revolt. And I call it a revolt because of the scenes that you have described before. We stand by the fact that history has been changed numerous times in the 20th century, and we ask ourselves, how has it been changed? The suffragettes handcuffed themselves to the Houses of Parliament. It was illegal. They defied the laws. We celebrated. They even held a sachet of little stones close to their waist in order to break windows. We celebrate the fact that women have the right to vote today. We celebrate the Chartist movement, which entailed more than a few broken windows, and we celebrate the fact that Nelson Mandela was labelled an international terrorist for 30 years, and the fall of apartheid, which brought an end to a minority rule. And we must describe this government as a minority rule, and that is the fact. And any resistance to this government, the coordinated action of students and workers, is celebrated. And I don't believe that your questions, sir, at the corner are in any way representative of the vast majority of people in this country. The vast majority of this people in this country has shown very clearly that it supports the actions of students, that it supports the actions of ordinary people fighting back against the cuts and the austerity agenda by the Cameron-Clegg Pact. And we must label them.
We have not heard anybody on this panel condemn the violence. In fact, you all seem to be supporting it. Do I take it from what you are all saying? You are supportive.
We organised a peaceful democratic march yesterday, which went to Parliament. There was no intention of violence. We stood in this street out here with thousands and thousands of people having a peaceful rally, hearing from school students and trade unionists and campaigners. We then tried to march to Parliament. We have not asked for any violence. We have not incited any violence. The school students who have gone on that protest have not incited or asked for violence.
Will you condemn the violence that came from students?
We want to talk about the reality, not a cracked window. We want to talk about the reality.
No,
what about the violence of the government?
We don't think it was violence.
The violence of the government.
No, I'm sorry. Okay, like what the media is obsessed with is a few broken windows and things like that. That is what has been shown. Yes, or vandalised Rolls Royce.
About the vast majority of people in this country. The vast majority of people in this country would be horrified to see the cenotaph, the focus of the nation's war dead, to be desecrated and someone pulling the flags off it. Do you condemn that?
We don't agree with everything that happened on the demonstrations, okay? But the point we are all making is it's a question of cause and effect, okay? Everything that those protesters did was caused, first of all, by the actions of the government, and then on the day by the actions of the police, okay? If you kettle people, if you treat them like that, okay? If you lock them up and beat them, okay? I mean, like, you can't, you know, then start blaming them if they become frustrated and their anger spills over.
So is Prince Charles and his wife to blame as well? What do you say about
They're in the wrong place at the wrong time. They're in the wrong place at the wrong time, but we have to be absolutely clear about this, okay? That a lot of the people on those demonstrations are young, working-class college students, okay? They are having the £30 a week EMA, which they rely on.
You still are not addressing the issue.
Well, I can't answer.
Prince Charles and Camilla,
I can't answer the question.
You said they were in the wrong place. Sorry, we're saying they were in the wrong place at the wrong time. What about the thousands of students who were kept in the wrong place for hours and hours and hours in the cold, and they weren't allowed to go home? What about those? What about those people? Prince Charles was delayed by being in a car with his police.
You lost yesterday.
We didn't do any of these actions. This is what anger on the streets means.
And will you give us assurance?
When the media reports the reality, when the media reports the realities, you know, but then we'll have a discussion about it.
We condemn the violence of the government smashing up our education, smashing up our public services, and we condemn the police for their violence against us. That's simple. I don't see how you can not understand that.
I don't understand how you're not condemning the behaviour of yobs who took over the streets.
The yobs are the ones that are in the government voting in favour of these fees. They're the yobs. These rich, privileged MPs with their 2 homes and their £1 million bank accounts who have never experienced what it's like to live on £30 a week. Many of these students who are now facing £9,000 to go to university, their parents don't even earn this much money. And I don't agree with David Willits when he says that, you know, I don't agree when he says that these people won't have to pay it back. It's the deterrent in the first place. Many people were put off going to university when it was £1,000, when it was £3,000. For them, £9,000 is a number so large that they won't even want to come to university.
And a market that will further entrench the division between elite education and more mass education. Are there any other questions?
Can I ask where this movement goes from here?
Would you like to talk about that, Claire? Well, we intend to call another demonstration. We're obviously supporting a range of actions. We're a democratic movement. We'll have our open meeting on Sunday and we'll talk about where we go next. I would imagine that we're going to escalate, we're going to mobilise, we're going to have more occupations, more sit-ins, more strikes, supporting trade unionists and workers doing that. Having solidarity. This movement is growing. It can only get bigger. More and more people are being affected by these cuts. The unemployed, more will come on the breadline because of this government. The public sector workers, the people losing their pensions, the people losing their home or going under the poverty line because of housing benefit, the children who won't be able to go to college anymore. These are the realities of what this government's doing. This government's stopping people over 25 being able to do their GCSEs for free again. Whereas, you know, for Michael Gove, the Education Secretary, the fee to enter a GCSE is probably a lunch on a Friday night. For these people, that's their month's income, their month's disposable income. Let's talk about the reality of what this government's doing. We are here to defend people and organise and unite against this government. We're not here for our own, you know, benefit or whatever. We're here to unite with workers, to unite with students and grow, occupy and resist against this government.